Hello students, this is Ardik sir and we will resume our part 2 of standard 8 social and political life, chapter 1, the Indian Constitution. As we have seen introduction, a brief summary about the constitution and even why does a country need a constitution. We have already seen a situation in Nepal, also the examples of domination with reviews, and we are now to start with the key features of Indian Constitution. So, in the beginning of the 20th century, the Indian national movement had been very active in the struggle for independence from British rule. As we know that India was under the rule of British and the struggle to gain independence was very active in the beginning of the 20th century. During the freedom struggle, the nationalists, so whoever have participated in the national movement, those people are known as nationalists. So the nationalists had developed or devoted a great deal of time to imagining and planning what free India would be like. So they had number of imaginations and number of plans that how India would be after independence. So how free India would be like, that they had imaginations and even the plans for the same. Under the British, they had been forced to obey rules that they had little role in making, in which they had no role. We can say it was very little role for them for making such rules. And though we can say that as they were not enjoying the rights, still they had to follow the rules made by the British. So thus they wanted the India in a situation, and that situation what they had planned, for that they had number of imaginations, and according to that they wanted to design the constitution of India. There was an extraordinary sense of unity among all the members of the Constituent Assembly. So because of this unity only we could reach at a level, and because of unity we could get the consensus, that is the to be agree on a same point or a same issue. So there was an extraordinary sense of unity among all the members of the Constituent Assembly. Each of the provisions of the future constitution was discussed in great detail. Each and every provision, whatever we find in the constitution, all the provisions have already been discussed in great detail, and there was a sincere effort to compromise and reach an agreement through consensus. So with the sincere effort, as you can find, without any discussion or with autonomous rule, it was not designed. Means behind designing every single provision they had several hours of discussion, and after that a discussion, ultimately the decision was taken with the consensus. As you can find, when every single individual, every single member of the Constituent Assembly will agree, and then only the decisions were taken. Here beside you can find the photo of the member of the Constituent Assembly. In this photo you can find a prominent member, Sardar Patel, along with other members of the Constituent Assembly. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, he is known as the father of the Indian Constitution. As we have already studied in 6th standard, we have already studied a brief introductory part of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in 6th standard. Maybe you all will be aware about the same. So Dr. Ambedkar believed that his participation in the Constituent Assembly helped the scheduled caste. As we know that he was born into Mahar caste, so scheduled caste as he belonged to, so that's why he felt that, he believed that because of his participation in the Constituent Assembly, that will help the scheduled caste get some safeguards in the draft constitution. So some safeguards would be there for the SCs, means scheduled caste, at least in the drafted constitution. But he also stated that although the laws might exist, scheduled caste still had a reason to fear, because so-called upper caste and so-called lower caste in our society, there is a caste discrimination. We have already studied about discrimination and unequal treatment in 6th standard. Even in 7th also we have studied about different laws, and even the efforts put by the government to bring upward, to uplift the downtrodden people, or we can say so-called lower caste people, by number of means. When they are discriminated, the government of India has always put an effort to improve their conditions. So as he states again, I would repeat it. So as the scheduled caste still had reason to fear because the administration of these laws were in the hands of the caste Hindu officers. So still he wants to use the term caste Hindu officers. Means he wants to say that so-called upper caste Hindu officers would have the power, and he therefore urged, means he requested, he pleaded the scheduled caste people to join the government as well as the civil services. So if they will join the civil services or they will join the government, they also can have the power and they also can improve their conditions, they also can improve their standard of living. Next we are in the now part, important part, that is key features of Indian constitution. The first key feature which we are given, that is federalism. So we have already studied different forms of government. We have studied unitary form, we have studied federal form. So these both forms we have already completed. We have studied parliamentary form and even presidential form. We have already studied democratic and also autocratic. So if you recall your memory, you will come to know that we have already completed this portion in previous standard. So federalism, as we have already studied it, and this is the part which you needed to explain in long answer type questions. So explain all the key features of Indian constitution, such question can arrive in exam, or else explain federalism as an important or key feature of Indian constitution. So be ready to learn this. If you have not read your textbook yet, I request you to go through the textbook and read all the key features. And before resuming from here, please once complete all the key features and then only come back to the video. This video is not the last one. After this we have the third part. In that we will be studying the rest of the key features. So first key feature, that is federalism, and this refers to the existence of more than one level of government. As we have already seen that in India we have governments at the state level and at the center level. So at the central level we have already studied this part, so that we can say it is a federal form of government. Means the powers are divided between state and the center. We have also Panchayati Raj system. We have already studied this in the previous standard. Panchayati Raj is the third tier of the government. The vast number of communities in India meant that a system of government needed to be devised that did not involve only person sitting in the capital city of New Delhi and making the decisions for everyone. So only the persons who are sitting in the capital city, means in New Delhi, and they will take all the decisions for the country. It's not going to be like that. In this we will study that all the different governing authorities are given different powers, and they have powers to make certain decisions on their own for the betterment of the people. So thus we have divided the power between center and state, as we have already studied. Instead, it was important to have another level of government in the states so that decisions could be made for the particular area. So as we have seen the term Panchayati Raj, we know that Panchayati Raj system involves three different parts again. At the rural level, means village level, then we have the block, we have block samitis working at block level, and also Zilla Parishad, that is district administration, that is taken care of by Panchayati Raj. So these are the organs of Panchayati Raj system. So those different organs will be working only for that particular area. Means village government, that is Gram Panchayat, will be working only for that particular village. X village panchayat will not interfere in the matters of Y village panchayat. Thus we can come to know that block A, means block samiti of A, will not interfere with the matters of block B samiti, means block samiti of B. So thus they have decisions, or they have the powers to be made only for that particular area. While each state in India enjoys autonomy, that wants to suggest you that every single state of India has governing powers on certain issues. Subject of national concern require that all of these states follow the laws of the central government. So with the ultimately the final power rests in the hand of central government only. Means on certain issues, the state governments have right to take decisions. We are already going to study in the same standard about the concurrent list, state list. Like that, we are going to study that what are the powers given to central government, what are the powers given to state government, and what are the powers which are given to both of this. So this we will be even resuming by the next year. This part is very important even for 9th standard. By that, even the first lesson of civics, you will find the same things will be discussed in very detailed form. So if you are not still with me, I request you to get fresh and once again start the video. Next, you can find the parliamentary form of government. As I told you before, we have already studied parliamentary and presidential form of government. In India, we have parliamentary form of government. The different tiers of government that you just read about consist of representative who are elected by the people. So in our governance system, as we know that we are ruled, or there is a rule of law, but ultimately with the help of the representatives who are elected by the people. Means there is an election conducted, and that election, ultimately in that election there would be number of people who would be contesting election, and after that, after voting, there would be number of representatives elected, and those elected representatives only would do the work of welfare. So Constitution of India guarantees universal adult suffrage. We know that this is right to vote. We can say that a person above 18 years of age in India has power to exercise his or her right to vote. So for all citizens, we have guaranteed universal adult suffrage from our constitution. When they were making the constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly felt that the freedom struggle, means because of this freedom struggle, ultimately that freedom struggle has helped the masses for universal adult suffrage. Means now they were all very well aware about what they want and whom to elect. Means now, because of this freedom struggle, the people were now ready to cast their vote. That they had already studied about this, they had now come to know that what kind of representatives they should have. So thus, because of this freedom struggle, only we can say that prepared the masses for UAS, that is universal adult suffrage, and that this would help encourage a democratic mindset and break the clutches of traditional caste, class and gender hierarchies. So such traditionally some so-called higher caste, so-called higher class and gender discrimination or whatsoever has been in our country for a long period of time, so that can be removed, such mindset can be broken, and we can also come out of such clutches just with the help of election, because now the people were very well aware, and this means that the people of India have a direct role electing their representatives. So these people of India will have direct role. I want to say by both the means, they can elect their representatives and also they can contest the election. So by both the ways, they have the power either to elect or to be elected, and without any kind of social background, means without taking care of, irrespective of his or her social background, can also contest in election. These representatives whom we elect are accountable to the people. Means whom we have elected, they are responsible, they are answerable to us ultimately. So this deals with parliamentary form of government, wherein we have the elected representatives. Even a person can also contest election without any kind of social background or educational background. We are only has to, there are number of conditions when he has to be a citizen of India and number of other things. So the different tiers of government which we have already read, we have seen that universal adult suffrage is guaranteed to all the citizens of India, and after the freedom struggle, at least the people of India were prepared for this right to be given. Means when our constitution was enforced, we all became equal from that day itself, and ultimately the constitution takes everyone as equal. According to law, everyone is equal. We have the third key feature, that is separation of powers. According to the constitution, there are three organs. We have studied in very junior standards. They are legislature, executive and judiciary. We also know their functions, that what legislature, what executive and what is the role of judiciary. So legislature means the elected representatives. It refers to our elected representatives. Executive, that imparts laws, and judiciary, which we are going to study more in the same book, unit 3, that is the system of courts in the country. So we have already studied what is legislature, executive and even judiciary. We have already seen this part. Legislature means our elected representatives. Executive, they are the implementing laws, and judiciary, that is system of courts. In order to prevent the misuse of power, so ultimately this is the most important part. We have already seen in the previous video misuse of power by any one branch to govern, any one branch of government. The constitution says that each of these governments should exercise different powers. So they have different powers to exercise, so that at least we can save our country from being misused of power. Through this, each organ acts as a check on the other organs. Means each organ has a check on the other organ, so that helps us to ensure the balance of the power between all these three. So because of this check, ultimately we can say that there is a balance of power, so there cannot be misuse of power. So these three, the most important organs, you have to go through once again the three key features from your textbook. Read all three key features once again, and we will be meeting soon with the next video starting from fundamental rights, and the next, even the fifth, secularism, ultimately we are going to see as a key feature of Indian constitution, and then we will be completing the third part. So till then, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.